HQ presented by Zaxby's. Pac-12 deserves some credit, a lot of credit. I mean, they often miss the college football playoff. They were overlooked by a bunch this college basketball season. All they've done is go 9-1. Bunch of upsets in the first two rounds of the tourney. 4 of the 5 teams making the Sweet 16, including USC, Oregon, UCLA, and even an Oregon State team that needed to win the Pac-12 tournament just to dance. No other conference got more than 2 teams in the Sweet 16. The Big 10 and Big 12 only 1 each. Let's bring in Matt Norlander. Matt, a simple question for you. Why has the Pac-12 been so successful so far in this tournament?
It's got a decent amount of talent. Some of it's been matchups. There isn't any massive secret. Some of this is, listen, the honest truth is the NCAA tournament can be a random content generator. And this time around, I mean, if we play the same exact field tomorrow, we started it again, Pac-12 would not be 9-1 to this point in the tournament. Just wouldn't happen. So credit to the teams that have been able to do this. 25% of the field. 4th time ever in league history that the Pac-12 has sent 4 teams to the Sweet 16. The most recent time was 2001. I maintained from the start that Oregon had a good place in the bracket. I didn't pick them to beat Iowa. I actually picked Iowa to go down to the hands of USC, but Oregon gets it done, and I think they're better than their seed line. I think USC is better than its seed line, so that's another reason as well there. But Dana Altman's had plenty of success making the Sweet 16 in the past decade. Andy Enfield has a top 3 NBA pick. Mick Cronin has done a good job since basically getting to UCLA, and UCLA continues a trend, by the way. More than 60% of the time since the first 4 began, one of the teams in the first 4 makes the Sweet 16. If you want a reason for Oregon State, I cannot give you one. It was 10-10 at one point. It's the first team since 1993 to be at least 520 games into a regular season and then go on to make the Sweet 16 as an at-large team. So Oregon State's a heck of a story. It's the most random Sweet 16 team I think I can remember in quite a while. But the Pac-12 moves on and it's guaranteed to have at least one in the Elite Eight, of course, because USC will play Oregon next weekend.
Yeah, Pac-12 only has one team favored to get to the Elite Eight, and that is in that game, USC by 1 against Oregon. Pac-12 with 2 of the 4 remaining double-digit seeds, along with Syracuse out of the ACC, Oral Roberts out of the Summit League. Oral Roberts, the only true Cinderella based on your Cinderella criteria. Which of those 4 teams has the best shot to make a run to the Final Four?
I think it's Syracuse, pretty objectively here. UCLA is the highest rated KenPom team, but Syracuse, by nature of having to face Houston, Bama's better than Houston. That region's got Loyola, Chicago, Oregon State as well. So of all the double-digit seeds, I'd rank them Syracuse 1, I'd rank it UCLA 2. I'd have to put Oral Roberts last. Region, I think that's totally fair. Oregon State would fall 3rd in that. But Syracuse has had a penchant for playing well as a double-digit seed. In fact, it's got the best win percentage in NCAA tournament history among all programs as a double-digit seed. I believe it's 9-2 is that record. And Buddy Boeheim, I don't say this for effect. I think this is a factual statement. The past 4 weeks, Buddy Boeheim has been one of the 5 best players in college basketball. I mean, he's encroaching on averaging almost 30 points a game, and blossomed into an NBA level prospect, frankly, in short order here. So Jim Boeheim won well over 900 games. They're my pick among all the double-digit seeds that I think are most likely to get to the Final Four. It would be Syracuse. I'm not picking any of these teams though to make it. I want to say to Indianapolis, they're already in Indianapolis. I'm not picking any of these teams to make it to the grand stage of the Final Four.
Yeah, they stay right there. So instead of, years past, Oral Roberts would go home and they'd have a bunch of fanfare in Tulsa. Not this year. Everybody's staying put. We'll see how that maybe hurts or helps teams like that, Cinderellas. We've seen, obviously, a bunch of upsets. But, Matt, a lot of these upsets have been by teams who have been there before and very recently, like Loyola, like Oregon, like a Syracuse team we just talked about. What does that tell you?
I mean, I don't know. I like this, okay? The fact that we have this amount of familiarity. I don't know if there's one true pattern, Hassel, or not, but I like the fact that we have had enough of a familiarity factor where we've got this great blend, right? Where you've got these schools that have been to the Sweet 16 in the past, 5-6 tournaments, and we've still got a huge upset factor overall. Some of it is coaching. Some of it is talent, obviously. I mean, Gonzaga is now one of only 5 programs ever to make 6 straight Sweet 16s. So it's some combination. But the one thing I don't want to hear from anyone is that because we had a lot of these upsets, we suddenly have the Sweet 16 that isn't appealing. That's flat out not true. We have 3 number 1s, a couple of 2s, a number 3, and even the teams beyond that aren't a 1, 2, or 3. You have Villanova, that's won 2 national titles. You have Loyola, which is the most familiar Cinderella story maybe ever involved there. UCLA is not a top 3 seed. Oh, by the way, it has more national titles than anyone in all of college basketball. And Florida State's been to the Sweet 16 now the past 3 straight tournaments. So there's plenty of familiarity to go around in addition to the surprising upsets that we've had. The one thing we didn't get in the first weekend, Chris, that I hope we can get in the second weekend, we didn't really have a true buzzer beater or a shot that sank it to win it with 2, 3, 4 seconds to go. The closest thing we kind of had was when Virginia Tech, first game of the first round, hit a 3 closing seconds to send that game against Florida to overtime. If we can get some of that, we are on our well on our way to one of the better NCAA tournaments of the past 2 or 3 decades.
And I guess I'll ask this then as a follow-up, because you said we've got a lot of familiarity and there's still a lot of intrigue, but there's no more likely National Player of the Year. Luka Garza's out. Likely number 1 overall pick, Cade Cunningham, out. Ayo Dosunmu out. So only one of the 4 Naismith finalists remain. That would be Gonzaga's Corey Kispert.
Yes, but there are 2 first-team All-Americans still in the field. Jared Butler of Baylor is also there. So the Naismith finalists, they trim it to 4. Jared Butler is one of the 5 best players in the country, so he also qualifies. Evan Mobley is a top 3 NBA pick. He still is in the field, okay? So we still do have quality players, but yes, some of the headliners aren't there. Gonzaga itself, though, by the way, Jalen Suggs, Drew Timme, and that Fu Manchu, Corey Kispert, I mean, it alone is accounting for enough headline, must-see, household name players that we normally would have spread out over a couple different teams. So plus Michigan itself draws huge, as we well know. That Michigan Big Ten audience is massive. Hunter Dickinson is a top 5 freshman in America. So do we have outright, undeniable star power across the board? No. Do we have still plenty of household names? Sure. We still have also, by the way, Villanova in the field, which is, for an East Coast audience, is all too familiar. So I would push back a little bit on the fact that we are lacking star power. I would say that's not entirely the case.
And the main star power is Gonzaga. They're the best team in college basketball. They have been all season, ranked number 1 wire to wire. And the question still remains. I mean, this was the question going in, Gonzaga or the field. Sportsline giving Gonzaga a 39% chance to win it. So if you're asking our guy Stephen O, the brains behind Sportsline, if you're taking Gonzaga or the field, he's taken the percentages. He's taken the 61%. Everybody else, what are you taking?
I'll still take the field. Gonzaga deserves to be the favorite, but still 1 versus 15. And when you got 2 other 1s, you got an Oregon team that could be a little tricky, although I got USC winning that game and going down to Gonzaga there. Alabama has the kind of style that can beat Gonzaga, so I understand now that we're into the Sweet 16. If you were reticent to say Gonzaga over the entire field, why you would do that when there were 68 teams and now there's 16, you're more likely to do it. If you gave me Gonzaga and Baylor of the field, then I'm taking Gonzaga and Baylor. But the question is Gonzaga over the field. It's still not in any predictive metric or model that I've seen there at CBS Sports or elsewhere. Nobody yet has Gonzaga above 50%, and that's right. I mean, no team should ever be above 50% when there are still 16 teams in a field. Give me the field, but Gonzaga is my pick. It was Illinois. We don't need to talk about that. Okay, I don't want to talk about it, Chris. I don't want to talk about it.
I don't either.
I think he wants to talk about it.
Because I had Illinois too. It's been a lot of red on the bracket this year, but what can you say? Crazy year, crazy tournament, and we know more crazy things are about to happen this upcoming weekend. Matt Norlander, thank you so much for the time. We can hear him and Gary Parrish on the Eye on College Basketball podcast, recording a new one each day, the latest top moments and storylines from the first incredible week of the NCAA tournament. Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.